how have you noticed this team over the last 2 weeks take pressure from varying situations and kind of internalize and process it?
Yeah, I think it's you practice all year, like every game in the regular season. Obviously, there's pressure in and of itself, and I think in a way, like there's a little less pressure on us in the sense that 2 months ago we weren't probably supposed to be in the spot, and no one thought we'd be here. So I think it's been a little easier to play, a little freer in that regard, and yeah, I think every game it's a little more pressure now as it's the playoffs. Every game is do or die, but we play the same way every year. You come to the field, you get your work in, you play the game hard. So it's not too much different.
Jason, you've been able to observe Skubal, up close for a few years now. What impresses you most just about him, especially behind the scenes, his preparation and routine, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely prepares as good as anyone and works as hard as anyone out there. He goes out and competes, and yeah, he just really competes out there and gives us a chance to win every time. He never backs down. He never shies away from a tough situation, and he's got tremendous stuff, obviously, but the way he competes out there is fantastic, and it's going to be exciting to see him go out today with against Boyd in a game that we really need to win.
Talked a lot about the last few months, but for you as someone who's been in this organization for a long time, what has it been like, bigger picture, to see kind of the rise of the Tigers from where you were when you first debuted to now being in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the organization since 2016, and obviously it hasn't been smooth sailing really since then. It's been a couple attempts at a rebuild and up and down, and finally we're starting to put some pieces together and playing some good baseball. So it's been really fun to see this team, throughout this season, kind of never give up and never back down. And obviously, we made a really fantastic run towards the end. So it's been pretty fun to watch, and we're excited for the next few weeks of playoff baseball and hopefully years to come.
Questions? We'll go to Jesse.
Going back to the spring training, the off season, was any of this with Skubal sort of predictable? I mean, I know he had a decent year last year, but could you have seen it coming? And what about his personality maybe lends itself to this kind of a year?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw it coming. I mean, he was obviously he was really good in the minor leagues, and obviously maybe he wasn't as good his first couple years in the big leagues, but he still had all the stuff and whatnot, and just acclimating himself to the big leagues. But when he came back last year, he was noticeably a different pitcher, and I would say he was more than decent last year. I think he had like a 2.5. But yeah, he was fantastic, and he works his butt off. He works as hard as anyone. So we expected that same mindset from him coming into this year, and we certainly all had confidence in him to be able to do what he's done this summer.
Jason.
The bullpen underwent a lot of change around the trade deadline, and then after that with some of the call-ups and everything. What do you think allowed this group to mesh as well as it did down the stretch with so many new faces and become a close-knit group?
Yeah, it's been tough. We lost Chafe, was kind of and Chafe and Shelby, Lang earlier on, who were all big pieces of this bullpen who threw really good innings for us. But the guys that we called up, like Gunther and Hannafy, they've done a heck of a job for us as well. And I think we're a pretty tight knit group down there. Like, everyone gets along real well, and we're all pulling for each other. And it's it's fun. They've stepped up tremendously, and especially in all the kind of out of the ordinary roles that AJ's maybe used us in. And it's just been fun watching everyone compete out there and get the job done and pass the baton.
Second row here.
I know they're all different individuals, but what impresses you the most about all these young kids?
Yeah, I mean, they've come up in when I made my debut, it was on a team that, didn't have too much of a chance to make the playoffs. We were kind of down and out, and a lot of these kids came up on a team where we were in a mix of a playoff run, and you're asking guys to throw really important innings and get really important at-bats or pinch hits or defensive replacements or whatever they may need to do in a spot where they never really got to acclimate themselves to the big leagues. Their first taste of it was in a playoff race. So it's been pretty impressive to watch all of them kind of not let the moment get to them and not, maybe let the game speed up on them too much and go out there and just and compete and really get the job done for us.
We'll do 2 more questions. Chris here.
When Alex was here, Lang was here, he was kind of like the leader. He was the kangaroo court guy, right, and all that. Who's kind of taken over now as far as who's collecting the fines and who's taking charge of that down there?
Yeah, no, Lang was a big loss. He was, he was part of this team. I think 2019 we might have gotten him. I hope that's correct, but I'm not sure. But he's been a good friend of ours and a teammate, and we miss him. But yeah, Chafin was the guy that was collecting the homer fines as veteran of the bullpen. I don't actually know where it went. I hopefully it's probably in Texas somewhere. But he was kind of collecting the fines. But yeah, it was a tough loss. But yeah, I mean we all kind of mesh. We're a bunch of young guys in a pretty similar spot.
One more question, Rachel.
On that note, are we officially calling this a playoff beard? Have you tried to rally more cause for that in the room? I know they got not all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I haven't groomed it since like early August when we started to win a bunch of games. So I remember Scott telling me, I think it was in Oakland, he was like, "Oh, you're growing off playoff beard," and I was like, "Yeah, I guess I might as well keep it now because we're playing really good and like, yeah, it's been tough to shave because we've been playing so well since. But yeah, I wouldn't hate getting rid of it at some point. Hopefully later than sooner.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, no problem.
Have you felt anything different? I mean, you come up to the big leagues, calm. You get all those big games down the stretch, calm. First round. I mean, has anything changed for you in terms of your heartbeat, your adrenaline, anything?
I mean, maybe a little bit. I feel like since I've been up here, every game's kind of been important in the stretch of us even trying to get here. So I feel like I played in a lot of big games on the way here, and that's kind of helped me out a little bit with that experience.
Questions?
Trey, the trade you were involved in usually is the type the rebuilding team makes rather than the team that's going to end up in the playoffs. Could you imagine this happening when you got the word you were traded?
Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect. It was kind of all happened pretty fast for me, but I think I quickly realized after I got up here we had a good chance to get here if we kept playing good baseball. So yeah, last month and a half kind of felt surreal. So still trying to take it all in.
Questions?
Trey, what's been the experience for you? I know it hasn't been a long time, but working with Joey Cora, how has he challenged you, and how has he made you a better shortstop?
Yeah, it's been good. He's got a lot of stuff for us. He kind of has his routine we do every day, and it's working on my hands. But he's been kind of on top of me of going to get the ball and not wait back on it. But he knows I have stuff to work on, and he's there with me every day, making sure I do that. So yeah, it's been good, and definitely think like he's helped me improve there.
Second row on the left.
Hey, Trey, since making your debut, you've had a lot of success against lefties, including some really tough lefties. Have you always had confidence against southpaws, and do you approach it any differently than against right-handers?
I mean, yeah, I think I have the same amount of confidence going up to the plate no matter who's on the mound. But no, not much of a different approach. Just kind of sticking to my roots and just try to stay on the fastball and adjust. But yeah.
Second row on the right.
Obviously in Detroit we had Tram and Lou for a long, long time. You've had a lot of different second basemen. How is that meshed together so well, or is it just quick repetition, or what?
Yeah, I think a lot of reps in practice, and then the games I played with up the middle with a lot of them. So yeah, I mean, just getting work in and playing a lot of those games at the end of the regular season, that's the biggest part.
Time for 2 more. If anyone has
Trey, while you're obviously enjoying this postseason, your 2 former organizations are also involved in the postseason. How much have you found yourself following them and what they're doing, and how much do you talk to some of those guys on those teams to see how they're doing, and kind of even talk about maybe potentially matching up against them?
Yeah, honestly, haven't paid too much attention. I'll talk to a few guys every now and then, but check up, see how they're doing. But no, just really just trying to focus on us and try to win games here. But yeah, that would be really cool to be able to run into some old teammates for sure.
Hi, Jason.